Well, ever since we found out Secret Wars was coming to life in the MCU, the big question has been, who will direct this movie? It's going to have a laundry list of characters, but as many of you know, the director and storyteller in this position is super important, and now we've got a new report that indicates Marvel Studios will indeed be looking into their own past. Let's dive in. Well, as many of you know, Marvel Studios has yet to announce who's going to direct Avengers Secret Wars. But based on a recent report, it really does sound like Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios might be trying to enlist some of their tried and true filmmakers that have found success inside the MCU in the past. This particular report comes via Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast. So like we always like to say, if it's not from Kevin Feige or Marvel Studios, we want to take it with a grain of salt, but Jeff does have some insight into some of the Hollywood discussions, and honestly, this makes a lot of sense for Marvel Studios trying to correct their path. Now, he does say Marvel Studios wants to look to some of the directors like Jon Favreau or Ryan Coogler to potentially take up the reins of Secret Wars. Now, the problem ultimately is Jon Favreau is super busy with his Star Wars universe and is unlikely to be available. Additionally, there are reports that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings director, Destin Daniel Cretton, who's going to direct Kang Dynasty, has pitched an idea for him staying on and directing the next feature, but the report does seem to indicate that Kevin Feige would much more rather have a different filmmaker take charge of Secret Wars. Ryan Coogler could be a great choice, but honestly, I felt like he did struggle with the number of characters in the past Black Panther movie, so I'm unsure if he's a great fit for Secret Wars, and more so, we don't know what his schedule looks like, so I'm not even sure if he's available. Now, honestly, whoever directs Secret Wars is super important, and for me, the choice seems pretty obvious, and I was sort of surprised I didn't hear these names in the report. For as long as I can remember, the Russo brothers have made it super clear they would love to direct a Secret Wars project for Marvel. It's a favorite storyline of their childhood, and honestly, looking back to what they did in their story arc between Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, it is a total win for Marvel Studios. Now, I am unsure of the Russo's schedule as of now, and this ultimately tends to be the big problem in nailing down the directors that you want to use. I personally feel like Secret Wars is going to be the biggest Marvel Studios project ever, and there are plenty of wild rumors surrounding it, so I think having the Russo brothers in there to corral all this material is super important. The job they did on Infinity War and Endgame, utilizing so many Marvel characters, but still making the story cohesive and work, is not something many directors can do, and honestly, as great as Jon Favreau or Ryan Coogler are, I'm really unsure even they can corral this many characters into a project and make it work and connect with audiences. Now, there are a laundry list of other possibilities, but honestly, I don't really see anybody else that could potentially take up this role. I'm sure Marvel wants Secret Wars to be even bigger than Endgame, and I suspect it will be somewhat of a universe reset for the MCU, so this project is probably one of, if not the most important Marvel movie, not only coming up, but probably Marvel has ever made. So getting the right director is ultimately the most important first step. When we finally get some sort of announcement from Marvel Studios on who's going to direct the film, well, that we're going to have to wait and see.